My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, and that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins, for the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. One of the most beautiful passages and beautiful scenes of the Gospels occurs in the Gospel of John in chapter 13. And there we have the beginning of John's recounting of the Last Supper. He was an eyewitness. He was one of the 12 apostles who was with Jesus during that Last Supper. And before the supper starts, John tells the story of what happened before they began to eat, which is that Jesus takes off his tunic, wraps himself in a towel, takes a basin of water, and approaches each of his apostles one by one, and does something very beautiful and very striking. He bends down, he takes off their sandals, and he washes their feet, each one of his 12 disciples. Of course, we know that Peter protests and our Lord has to reprimand him. And so our Lord has this wonderful, humble act of service on his last night on earth before dying on the cross. And really it's hard to think of a gesture, an act, a service that could be more humble, that could be more lowly than washing their feet. This was the task, this was one of the duties during the time of our Lord Jesus Christ of a slave, of a household slave or household servant, to wash the feet of their masters. And so that makes it particularly striking because Jesus, objectively speaking, Jesus is of a much higher social stature than his apostles. He's their rabbi. He's their master. He's learned. He's educated. He's their leader. And that's just looking at things with human eyes. With our faith, we know, Lord, that you are also God. And so this is their creator, the creator of heaven and earth, the creator of this whole vast universe that we're still discovering just how vast, how amazing creation is. God, who created all of that out of nothing, bends down, takes on the gesture and the service, the action of a servant, of a slave, and washes their feet, loves them in this very humble way. And then Jesus goes on from there to tell them that they need to have the same attitude, that they need to do the same thing. After he had washed their feet, we read in the Gospel of John, he put on his robe and returned to the table. He said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." Right, so our Lord Jesus Christ points out the fact that He is the master. They are His servants. Servants are not greater than their masters. You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. And yet I have performed this amazing service, this amazing humble favor to you. And then he says, blessed are you if you do them. And if you understand this, great. But you'll be happy, you'll be even better if you do this. If you have this attitude of thinking that no service is beneath you. Because all service is love, and all love makes us like God, makes us like Christ. There are wonderful examples of this among the saints. Mother Teresa was especially famous for her humble attitude of service. And after a while, of course, she was a great figure in the world. She spoke to presidents and leaders of different countries. People came to her to ask her opinion on many different things. She was quite a celebrity. She was quite important. This is an anecdote that someone who met her recounts in a book. Many years ago in Calcutta, India, I had the chance to meet Mother Teresa. She was an incredible woman with an incredible force of personality. When she walked down the street, the crowd parted in front of her like the Red Sea. Yet when you talked to her, if you mentioned the tremendous things she had done, she almost did not engage in this topic at all. By many reports, if you asked her what her greatest achievement was, she would answer, "I am an expert in cleaning toilets." The answer was both humorous and absolutely serious. Her business was caring for others. Toilets had to be cleaned, so she cleaned them. There was no question of a job being beneath her. Helping people who needed help was her work, and there was nothing higher, nothing in the world more important than that. So one day, when an elegantly dressed man came to Calcutta looking for Mother Teresa, the nuns who answered the door informed him that she was at the back of the house, cleaning the toilets. They pointed the way, and indeed he found Mother Teresa scrubbing the toilets. She said hello, assumed he was there to volunteer, and began explaining to him how to hold the toilet brush correctly and how not to waste water. Then she put the brush in his hand and left him standing there, in his expensive suit, alone in the lavatory. Later the man came out, found Mother Teresa again, and said, "I have finished. May I speak with you now?" "Yes, certainly," she said. He took an envelope out of his pocket and said, "Mother Teresa, I am the director of the airline, and here are your tickets. I just wanted to bring them to you personally." That airline director told that story again and again for the rest of his life. And so did he again to me. He said those 20 minutes spent cleaning toilets had filled him with the greatest joy he had ever known. Because by putting his hands to Mother Teresa's work, he became part of that work. For those 20 minutes, he cared for the sick just as she did, with his own hands, his own sweat. I am an expert in cleaning toilets, right? Our Lord is an expert in cleaning feet. And so you and I, when we look at how we serve others, when we look at how we take care of all those little things that make up our normal, ordinary life, do we kind of look down upon certain kinds of work, certain tasks? Do we think that we're kind of above or better than performing certain menial tasks? And if we do, we have to change our attitude. There's something wrong with that. We should be willing to do anything for the love of God. Anything, of course, that's not a sin, right? No matter how low, no matter how humble. We should be willing to do anything for the love of God, to truly be a disciple of this Master, this disciple of our Lord. After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." So we go to our Blessed Mother Mary, she who spent most of her life as an ordinary wife and mother, committing herself to loving Jesus Christ by serving him in ordinary, normal, humble household tasks. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations which you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.